Overall, it was a good weekend. We had talked about prior to the series of trying to play 6 good periods, and Friday night we certainly accomplished that, and came back Saturday, and I thought the effort for the entire game was good. The difference between Friday and Saturday is we got a little adversity in Saturday's game where we fell behind by a couple goals, and from a coaching perspective, you want to see, especially early on in the season, how your team reacts to a little bit of adversity. And I thought, we kept doing the things we needed to do to have a chance. We competed at a high level, especially in the third period Saturday. We only gave up 1 shot, and you don't know if you're going to score in this business, but if you're doing things the right way, a lot of times you're going to get rewarded. Some nights you won't, and you'll end up maybe losing a game, but it's not due to the lack of effort. And so we learned a little bit more about our club Saturday, especially in the third period, and we were fortunate to pull our goaltender, get a goal late in the game and then win it in overtime. So it was a good bus ride home and a good opportunity again to learn about who we are and get a little bit of adversity and see how we handle it.
And Casey was talking about how a big focus is not getting complacent when you guys have been beating teams by such big margins up until this past weekend. Is that a focus for you? Is that something you worry about when you're blowing out opponents the way that you are worried about your team not being complacent?
Well, I think the tendency is if you've had an easy game, you're going to come back the next one and think it might be the same picture. But as a coach and our coaching staff, we're looking at are we doing the little things consistently? And it's still early in the year, but the whole objective is to try to play each period, each game, each weekend the same way, and that's the consistency that so many coaches look for in their teams. And it's easy to talk about it, but the team's got to understand that whether you won 5-0 or you won 2-1 or you lost 3-2, the best way to win the next game is to do those little things consistently. And over the course of time, we've had teams here that have been consistent over the 34 games, and usually those teams that are able to do that, they're going to have a successful season.
Caroline's coming off a Rookie of the Week, and just in general, the players are talking about how impressive this freshman class is so far. I mean, just overall takeaways from you. How impressed are you with the experience that they bring in and how they're playing?
Yeah, I mean, they look comfortable. They look confident. They're playing. Some are playing high minutes. Caroline's done extremely well. I thought she played a real strong game Friday night, and then came back Saturday and obviously scored the game winner on probably a play that not many people can do with her mobility and the way she's able to change directions. So we're encouraged. The big thing is they got to keep working. They got to keep getting better. And they haven't been to all the different places in our league or played against all the teams that we have in our league, and so it's always a learning opportunity. And one thing, they have good work habits, so they'll keep pushing themselves. They'll continue to get better, and I think we'll reap the benefits of what we see on the ice.
Can you talk to the importance of just having this adversity and kind of having those more challenging games earlier on in the season that kind of sets you up for what's to come?
Yeah, I mean, coaches don't tend to like it, but I know in years past, any season you go through, there's going to be different adversities. It might happen early, it might happen for a short period of time, it might be an extended period of time. But I think if teams have adversities and they're able to deal with it and navigate through that space and through that period of time, whatever length it is, usually when they come out of it, they're going to be stronger because of it. And I think every team that wants to reach their potential has to have a little adversity. You don't want a ton of it, but if you end up getting a ton of it, you still have to deal with it, and you still have to try to work things in a positive direction. And the whole key is to get everybody pushing in the same direction, get everybody's feet in the boat at the same time, and work together as a group. And if you're able to do that, then you can start playing your best hockey. But I think adversity helps you jump into that area or jump into that space, and it focuses people and really get an understanding of who they want to be and what they want to become.
Seeing how your team's been able to win in a variety of different ways this season so far, and it's still young, how does that speak to their this team's identity so far this season?
I mean, I get into being competitive, working hard, and playing smart, and it's a process where it takes time. As we've talked about in the past, there's probably 10 or 11 players on this team that weren't with us last year, and so that chemistry, you want it to be strong early on, and it's trending that direction. But the more time we spend together, the more practices, the more time we spend on the road traveling, gives an opportunity to become a close-knit team. And by the middle of winter, you hope you've reached that. I would say we're progressing in a real positive direction, but it's still early on. Usually after 4 to 8 or 12 games, there's a realignment of things in our locker room because we've gone through this chunk of games and people sort of get a feel of where everybody's falling in, and do you accept your role? Do you like your role? Don't you like your role? So it's just a space where you navigate through, and this year's no different than other seasons. It's just something that the coaches have to deal with, and players have to deal with, and teams have to deal with, and it's about getting to know one another and understanding your role, and do I like it? And am I going to go out knowing that whether I play 4 to 6 or 8 minutes, or I play 15 to 17 or 18 minutes, if I do it well, each individual, we have the best chance to win.
You've been able to see your team on the bench for a few weeks now. Do you get a sense that, especially in those adverse situations like you had third period last Saturday, who the energy people are on the bench, and who in those moments can rally the group and say, hey, we need a little bit more here?
Well, you look to your leadership group, and on any given night, somebody might be going a little bit better than somebody else. So, this past weekend, you look at Harvey and the way she was able to, make different plays Friday and then come back and make a big play Saturday in overtime. But I thought Casey O'Brien both nights was very strong. So, from my seat or where I'm standing, if I can get her on the ice, with her heart rate at a position where she can go out and work hard for 30 or 40 seconds, something might, happen that's really positive. So you look to your seniors, you look to your upperclassmen. Lamantia is another example where, she sort of senses moments when we might need a play or we might need an opportunity offensively, and she'll try to go out and do something. And she has a pretty good batting average. And so, you look to your upperclassmen that seem to be relaxed in moments that maybe other players are a little bit nervous, and some kids might be more comfortable and they go on the ice and sense the moment, try to make an opportunity happen.
LeBron is 10 years old, if you can believe that. What has this building meant to? I mean, you coached in the Kohl Center era, you coached in the LeBron area. What's having this space as the home of Wisconsin women's hockey, and this is your home, and this team's
well, just that comment in itself makes it special, because it was the Cap Ice Center, it was Verona, then it became the Kohl Center, but we were just sort of a tenant there. We played our games there, we didn't practice much there, but when you can say this is your home rink, and obviously what I like about it is when I step on the ice, especially in the afternoon when the sun's out, we have that natural lighting coming in from the south. It's just refreshing. It puts a smile on your face. And it's just a fun place for us to go out and practice. And obviously, the traditions that we've built with our fans, our community has embraced it. They enjoy coming to the games. They get here early. They want specific seats. And so you really created an atmosphere where, the players love playing in front of them. The fans love watching the game, and they enjoy coming to the games. Unfortunately, our visiting teams like to come in and play here too, because they know they're going to play in front of a hostile crowd, but the excitement, certainly some of those teams don't get that chance to do it very often. But it's a special place. We've generally played quite well in this building, and we've really established it's a difficult place to play if you're a visiting team coming in.
Are there any individual performances that stick out in LeBron as being that you remember as being like just the best of the best?
Well, the games that are the ones that are meaningful. Obviously, the games that we played in Minnesota, whether it was a regular season game here, we've had some playoff quarterfinal games here. Those games tend to stick out. I remember Abby Rock getting a couple goals in a big playoff game, and those atmospheres to me are the ones that bring the most memories. So when people are here early, the place is really packed. If we're fortunate to have our band here, and those are the games that I get excited about, just because the fans that are coming are going to get rewarded to an outstanding brand of hockey, and they're going to walk away appreciating the talent on both sides of the ice. So we've been able to create that, and if I give me 5 minutes, and I could probably come up with 5 or 8 or 10 things that jump out in my mind. I remember Brianna Decker scoring in overtime against Duluth down in the Zamboni door, and anytime you're able to win games in that fashion, especially against one of your rivals, it's a fun night.